We're glad that you took the time on this Friday night. We're here in Orlando, and it is storming and raining and carrying on, all kind of things outside. But we thought that it not a waste of your time to join you tonight. And myself, Dr. John Robertson, I'm a clinical psychologist here in Orlando, Florida, and my inimitable co-host, Mr. Charles Morris.
Well, see, normally, welcome to the Journey 2020. I'm Charles Morris.
Charles is usually over on the other
usually
side.
I'm on the other side. As a matter of fact, let me go ahead and put both of us. Yeah, there you go.
All right.
So,
Right.
Usually I'm on the other side, but tonight, because we have a special guest.
Absolutely.
A special guest.
All right.
Okay, and I like to do and everything else and look at the smile.
There you go. Oh,
But anyway, just want to say hi, everyone. I'm Charles Morris, and you're talking about the rain, and I'm so happy because we need the rain.
absolutely.
And we need. All right, now you can't go anywhere now.
I'm here.
Remember, because
I got you.
Yeah. 'Cause I'm on this side right now. Okay. All right.
I want to make sure that you knew that I was listening to you, my brother.
Okay. Well, I'm saying that we need the rain because it's been so dry and the lakes are starting to dry up, and it also helped me with my fishing. So. We need a little bit more rain.
Now, Charles had to throw the fishing in just so that I could be envious. But okay.
Right. But anyway, coming up, as you know, is Father's Day.
Yeah.
Coming up. So there's a lot of events, and around this time we're getting ready for the Black Men's Health Summit. So we're going to have to talk with Angela Adams about that as well, because it's completely different this year.
It is.
Completely different. She's calling it an e-summit because this time, because she needed a little break. I think this is the 21st, I think it's the 22nd year this year.
Yeah, I don't remember which year.
And I've been working with her for about for about 20 years.
Wow.
Right.
Okay.
Right. And so she needed a little break this year, so she's doing the e-summit, but we're going to talk about that, or we're going to have her on to talk about that as well. Or we would have some more information on
more information.
Right.
Exactly. Go ahead.
Right. So, but I was contacted by an old friend of mine. And I don't know if you remember back in the day on Channel 2, WESH, Tina Douglas used to do the anchoring on Saturday mornings, and she also used to do, I think, some afternoons or evenings.
Was that here in Florida? Okay. Okay. Don't remember or don't forget that I was in the wilds of New York, at that time. So go ahead.
Okay. Well, Tina and I have been friends for a very, very long time, and Tina left here to go to Atlanta. And I always get on Tina because Tina dreamed, and she never did, and I always get on about this, but her real passion was she always wanted to do sports. But she does news.
Right.
But she's been in the business for a very long time. And so I sent her the information on the show every week. So she sent me information, say, hey, I got this dynamic person that I need you to talk to, and I want you to see what she's doing. And so, and actually, Tracy and I had a conversation today, and she kind of went in. I was like, save it, Tracy, save it, save it, Tracy.
Okay.
So when she was telling me a lot about what she's doing, she really does remind me of Robin, because she has that same spirit.
Okay.
Also has the same smile.
And I got a chance to talk to her for a couple of minutes before we went on air.
Right.
So I absolutely agree with what you're saying.
Right. And so when she was telling me about what she was about, what God has led her to do, and it's so funny because I had a conversation with Robin last week, and I don't know if you talk with Robin.
Every once in a while.
Well, Tracy, you need to hear this. One of her clients was living. I don't know if Robin want me to tell it, but anyway, one of her clients was living in one of her. She's anyway. she had this episode,
Ah,
and she showed me the before pictures of her duplex that the client was living in.
yeah.
Then she showed me the after pictures of her duplex.
Oh
That
my.
now the client is now kind of like locked up, where she just had this fit and this outrage.
Oh
That was
my.
kind of like whatever brought it on. And Robin
Yeah.
said, you know, she has the different personalities and da 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 da.
And
But
yeah.
to listen to her talk, okay, and to listen to Tracy talk, and to understand the type of spirit that you must have to deal with that, it takes a person who has a lot of patience,
Yes.
a lot of patience, a lot of patience,
Patience.
and a lot of patience.
Yeah.
And you would have to have a spirit of God and saying, you know, this is what, you know, this is what
And,
God led me, you know,
and,
so,
and, and a lot of forgiveness.
and a lot of patience. And you have to be very understanding
Right.
and something, whatever that is, that drives you. So I have talked long enough in the sense of talking about Tracy, but I'm going to let Tracy introduce herself. And Tracy, how you doing?
I'm doing fine. I think you did a great job. As far as the patience, as far as the patience 5 times, I probably have patience only about 3 times. So,
Won't you?
but it does take patience. It does.
Won't you? Won't you tell
Again,
us? Won't you tell us what you do and how you got into it?
okay. Again, I'd like to introduce my full name. It's
Tracy.
Tracy Rolle. And I am the owner of AIM, acronym meaning Alternative Intervention Methods and Education. And what I do is I work with the judicial system. I work with individuals who have been incarcerated, they've received a charge, and they're sent to me because we have a program. Our goal is to rehabilitate. In the midst of this, I've been doing this since about 2010. In the midst of this, I've written a book, and it's called In Charge, a guide to managing a result-driven life after incarceration. In Charge was an acronym that I often used in my class, working with the clients that I got from the municipality. So that's where I got that from. And that In Charge actually stands for nonstop commitment, okay? Homework, research, then more homework, accountability to yourself first before others, resilience like a rubber band will
Okay.
generate your expected result. And that book was inspired from the work that I do at my AIM program.
Okay.
Give you a little idea?
Okay.
Okay.
Tracy, could you tell us a bit of where you're located and how wide your reach is where you are?
Well, presently, right now, I am in Atlanta, Georgia. I am exploring some options in Orlando. I've actually been called to Orlando. I just left there last month.
Come
And I'm
on
looking
down.
at some possibilities. Yes, I'm looking at some possibilities in the juvenile court down there.
Well,
So
we.
I just, it's ironic. You're in Orlando. I used to live there,
Oh, okay.
but now I'm presently in Atlanta. So I service the Georgia area.
Okay.
That's my span. But we are looking, at other alternatives, other options because we've been called. And again, this is a passion for me. So what I do, I hope to someday have it, nationally everywhere. Anybody, that needs our services, I want to be able to be that resource. But presently, we are located in Atlanta, Georgia. We had a beautiful day today. So I'm sorry to hear about the rain, but after living in Orlando for such a long time, it rains every day in Orlando.
Yeah.
But I'm
Well,
sure it doesn't rain all day.
no. We need
Yeah,
more
I
rain. We need
actually
more rain.
moved from Orlando to Atlanta.
Okay.
But we had a beautiful day today.
Wonderful. Tracy, as Charles had started asking, how did you decide to get involved with this kind of work?
I kind of, actually, I kind of stumbled on it. I've been from corporate America. You know, I graduated from Bethune-Cookman back when it was Bethune-Cookman College.
Go
Now
Wildcats!
Bethune-Cookman
Right.
University.
Okay.
So, you know, I'm not that young. You know, I'm still the BCC, and I still have the clothes that say BCC to prove it.
Okay.
But I actually was in corporate America, and how I actually got into this industry, it was kind of by default. You know, we all, especially as being African Americans, we've come across or have experienced someone in our family being, you know, incarcerated. So that person happened to be someone, you know, very close, my baby brother. I'm number 7 of 8, and he's number 8.
Bless your heart.
So,
Okay.
you know, yeah, we
I,
come from
actually,
a
I said
very large family.
I should say bless
Yes.
your mother and father's hearts.
I know, right? Yes, I'm number 7 and he was number 8. And when I say it was by default, my brother was incarcerated, and you know they have this system kind of set up to where you start out with an infantile stage, and then you know you get a break, and you say, oh, okay, well that's pretty cool. Then you do something else, and then you find yourself with a sentence that's, you know, mandatory because you're a repeat offender. That's the terminology for it. So at the time, my baby brother was incarcerated. You know, he had been incarcerated a few times, but his last sentence, he was given a 21-year sentence with a 15-year mandatory.
Wow.
So now we're looking at someone that you love, you know, and you don't feel like he did it, but, you know, the system is not always geared to, you know, help us, you know, in those situations. So he was stuck with the mandatory. So when I looked at his opportunity to get out, I wanted to do something that would prevent him from going back. You know, the national recidivism rates are, you know, every 1 in 4 will probably return within 3 to 5 years. Okay, so you're looking at more than half. And in knowing that statistic, I wanted to come up with something that I could do with him that would prevent him from being a part of that statistic. So I did a lot of research, a lot of homework, then, you know, research, then more homework. And I came up with a plan. I didn't know back then, which that was probably, I would say 2003. I didn't know that I would be creating a program,
Oh,
you know,
okay.
in content, in working with him. So after my brother got out, you know, he agreed to the plan, because that's the part of it. You have to agree to the plan. And it wasn't an easy plan. I went over my plan with him, you know, and it had structure and it had restrictions. So after that, you know, I started becoming a go-to person because my brother was doing well. He got a job immediately out of prison. You know, he just started to develop. So you become a go-to person, you know. Then you find yourself being a resource. I was already a business person in the community. Many people knew me. I mentored quite a few people. But once you become the person that can get person that's been incarcerated a job, you're like, oh, okay, I know somebody that can help you.
Oh, yeah, that's
I was doing it voluntarily.
right, and that's one of the most precious resources. As I don't need to tell you, because as I say, you're living it. You know, to be a resource for jobs, because just this week I had someone that I interviewed who literally broke down in tears, talking about how difficult it was with skills to get back into the workforce. You know? So that ability to find jobs for your brother, and I imagine that when other folks heard that there was a lot of word of mouth kind of referrals coming into you.
Well, you know, for me, I'm the type of person, I believe that you can inspire whatever your result is. So for someone to say, oh, your brother, my brother literally got a job the first week he was out of prison, you know. And then I relocated from Orlando in 2006 to Atlanta. And because I had done my research, I knew the areas that he would be able to get a job and would not have to deal with the stigma. You know, you have to do your research. It's almost like sending someone into a fire. Give you an example. If you're a molester, you don't go to a daycare, right? Well, a lot of people don't do their research. They'll go to the daycare, you know, and they'll, you know, knowing that they have a previous charge that's not going to allow them to work at that daycare.
Yeah.
But because they have a desire to get a job, you know, they don't do the homework or the research. So when someone would say, your brother got a job, I say, yes, he got a job. You know, I didn't look at it that, oh yeah, you know, it's a miracle he got a job. It's all in the attitude of it.
Okay.
So when I moved to Atlanta, I asked him, do you want to come? I don't have resources there, but I have a plan. And he said, okay. So we got him into a heavy equipment and a truck driving school. So when I was moving here, he was actually in school. So guess what happened then? He moved to Atlanta after he finished school. And within probably 3 weeks, he was working. Okay. So when you develop that type of reputation, people start to call you. And besides, I mentor. You know, I'm from a Greek organization, the very first one, Alpha Kappa Alpha, and we do a lot of community work. Okay. And in the community, you're going to come across people, and they're going to know you, and they're going to know that you're a resource. And that's what I became. I became a resource. Okay. Now, how I got involved in Atlanta, I moved to Atlanta, still wanted to continue my community service work. And I had someone that I mentored years prior to moving to Atlanta. I'll never forget, she was working at a mall and she told me that she wanted to be an attorney. She's always wanted to be an attorney. She had a degree, but she was working at the mall. And so I said, why can't you be an attorney? She said, well, I can't. I have a son. I can't go to school. And I said, okay, I don't see that I'm a single mother. I don't see that as a problem. Fast forward years later, when I come to Atlanta, it happened to be announced, because at the time I was an Allstate agent. I had been an agent for years. And it was announced that I was in the Atlanta area. Come and visit, come and greet your agent in the area. She found out I was here, and she called me and she said, guess what? I'm an attorney.
Oh, how great.
And you're here. And I have so many people that I want to connect with you. I have some knuckleheads. I have some people that I want to connect with you. And so I said, okay, and that's how it kind of started. And then one day she was like, you really should think about making this a business. And I said, what do you mean? Because it's different when someone is coming to me and they want to talk about, I'm trying to get a job. This is what I have. I've been locked up for so many years. I can deal with that. But now you're saying it can be a business for you, because we have programs, and Tracy, you've been doing this forever. You would be great at this. And I sat on that idea for a few years. And then, one day I just decided that it was time for me to do my passion. Okay. And I wrote this AIM program. And I think the biggest obstacle, and that's what we do, we get obstacles and we like them. They're comforting to us. It's comfortable to have the excuse and the obstacle. My biggest one was that I wasn't an attorney. And I said, everybody that does this, they're an attorney. The owners are attorneys. But it doesn't mean I can't do the job, because I'm very successful at understanding purposes and getting people to see their abilities and motivating them to want to go and say, hey, forget the obstacles. Let's get this going. I'm very good at that. But what about the judicial aspect? What about the, fact that we're dealing with the judicial system? And it took a very good friend of mine. She's one of my best friends. I don't know if she's listening today, but Natalie Jackson, she worked on the Trayvon Martin case. She's always on television, CNN, Nancy Grace, all
I
these different things.
I
She's one of my
remember,
very best friends.
right. I
And
remember
she
her
said,
speaking
Tracy,
about.
do you understand? Yes, you're in
Okay.
Orlando, so
Yeah.
she's a big activist
Okay.
in Orlando.
Well, of course,
And she
you know.
said, Tracy, do
Okay.
you
Now,
sir?
I was going to say, now, of course, we're going to have to make sure that she does see the show.
Yeah, so she might be watching now. So,
Okay.
one of the things she said to me was, Tracy, do you understand that there are people who own law firms that are not attorneys? Just hire the people that you need, but you'll still be a part of it. And that's how AIM came to life. My experience with my brother, I had so many people like his parole officers, everybody saying, you're lucky you have your sister. She's, it's amazing. They felt very comfortable because I don't think anybody could be as tough as I was. So they knew he was always in place. He was
Uh-huh.
always where he was supposed to be. So I said, how do I expand this? How do I give individuals an opportunity to get the knowledge that I have, and then, in doing so and looking at the different areas that I saw in my brother, I knew there were other components that, that I had with him that we just had to have. There's a psychological aspect. So my program consists of counseling. It's mandatory.
Okay.
It's not outsourced. It's within my building. A lot of programs, they outsource it. They maintain that profit for themselves. But in order for me to get the success I need from the clients that I deal with, I have to understand what they need. And if I outsource it, you cannot get the information. So I spend my additional monies that could be a profit for me, but that's not the purpose. And I actually facilitate all of the aspects. We do drug counseling.
Okay.
We do domestic counseling. So when you come to the AIM program, you're not looking at a program that is going to be about, you did a crime. Let's talk about, how we stop you from doing a crime. I tell my clients when they walk in the door, the only time I know what their charge is when I choose to just look. But when they come in and we're talking about the aspects of the program, we're talking about life. So we're talking about life skills. We're talking about, communication skills. If you're unemployed, you go on a certain day. You're not going when we're talking about life skills. We have times for that. But our first and foremost goal is to make sure that you can take care of yourself and your family. So we're going to start you with classes that are going to work on getting you a job.
Okay.
Now,
I
Tracy,
have individuals that, I'm sorry, go ahead.
no, I wanted to ask you, what are the percentages of the females versus the males? Do you have any females at all?
There's no, we don't, everybody comes. My age group is 17 and up. And I would probably say that I have more males than females. The largest majority of the offenses that I see, and it wouldn't be surprising to you, is theft and substance abuse.
Give me an example of, this is kind of a difficult question, but what are the difference between working with the males versus the females when it comes to their attitudes and just working with them in general?
Why would that be a difficult question?
Okay.
I can tell you this. When I first presented my program to my main municipality, there were, it was a few males and females, but they were all district attorneys, assistant DAs. And they said, I don't want to sound disrespectful, but you don't really look like you can keep someone in line. And I said, well, I guess that's a compliment. I said, but I don't have a problem keeping them in line. And I think they know that now. Fast forward years later, I don't have a problem keeping them in line. As far as males, they're dominant. God made them first.
Right.
So you can imagine, when it comes to a time where I have to put my foot down because I'm trying to help you, but you're not really receptive to the help, they treat me as if I'm probably their girlfriend, or, unfortunately, sometimes probably the way they speak to their mother, but it doesn't scare me. I don't back down. I'm very firm. As a matter of fact, I got quite a few names that they call me in the office.
Okay.
and I tell you this, they're afraid when they have to come to me. And it's not afraid because they know that, it's not afraid because I'm dangerous or, there's a fear afraid. They're afraid because I'm going to have the conversation with them that they just don't want to hear, and they know it's right. And at the end of the day, if they can finish the program, I get the same response. I have anger issues there with a lot of clients. We're talking about substance abuse. I don't know if you've ever lived with, been involved, or know someone who was on substance and they're trying to get off. They're not too nice. So when they charge at me verbally, I've had some to, clear the desk, slam the doors, do things like that. But when they come to me aggressively, I look at them and I smile and I say, I understand why you're feeling the way you are. So I'm not offended. I'm not going to take it personal. I give you a perfect example. Last Saturday, I had an individual, he's Muslim. Well, from day one in the courthouse, he told me when I went to, I happened to be there that day when he was enrolled. And I went to reach in and to shake his hand. And he said, I don't touch women's hands. And so I said, okay. And he explained to me his religion. He also explained to me that he doesn't read English. So that made it very difficult because that meant now he had to come every week for 13 weeks. Whereas some of them, they get to do online resources. But he said he doesn't speak English. I don't know how true that is. I mean, he doesn't read English. He doesn't read English. Okay. So, we have, we go over where you want us to go.
Hey,
and in that case, that meant, yes.
I think he just wanted to hang out with you.
No, listen.
No.
He finished his last class this weekend.
Because he got to hang out with you for 13 weeks. He got to hang out with you for 13 weeks. I bet he did.
Well, I have facilitators. I have counselors, and they teach the classes. Yeah. I do the unemployment classes, but I'm in there sometimes. So anyway, his agreement was that you would be here every week. Sometimes 2 times a week. It might be 3 times a week. And he said, well, I'm willing to do it with the worst attitude in the world. So Saturday was his very last week. And I went in all excited and I said, congratulations, you're done. And boy, did he read me a hammer in front of the entire class. He said, lady, don't you ever say anything to me. I don't talk to you. I don't speak to you. I don't acknowledge you. You are non-existent to me. And you know what I did? He said a few other things. He knows that profanity is not allowed. And I looked at the class and I said, class, I know this seems to be a little disrespectful, but I totally understand him. And I said, I am not personally offended. The class started and they were like, oh, Miss Rolle, that's just da-da-da-da-da. And I said, I understand. And I say, and because he's so much older than me, he should lead by example. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue to be excited for him that this is his last week.
Right.
So, I have those situations. Now, it doesn't always go down that way because sometimes I can get mad.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. Let me.
It doesn't always go that way, but I can tell you there are certain, not only when it comes to males, there are certain ethnicities that do not receive me as an owner, as the person, the final person. They don't receive it that well. But before they leave the program, they understand that you may not, respect women in your culture, but you're going to respect the women in this building.
Right.
Very good.
Let me.
Tracy,
And
let me also share
go ahead.
share with you, because as you were talking, it reminded me of an experience that I had. This is quite a few years back when I was a young psychologist, but see if this resonates with you. I had a client very much like that, who upon coming into, this was a substance abuse rehab program, looked in my office door and said, "You Robinson?" I said, "Yes, I am." He said, "What the do you think you can do for me?" And I had to, and for a male it may be a little different, and I said, "Get your in here, and I'll tell you what I can." Well, to make a long story short, this gentleman like yours finished the program, and we literally verbally sparred all the way through. And his joke was that as he was leaving, because I was about to go into my doctoral program, and he said, I had Robinson, I sent him back to school because I did mess up his mind so much, he had to go back to school to deal with guys like me. Well, fast forward on that, in moving here to Orlando, I was informed that this same gentleman who was in New York had sponsored in his recovery over some 100 odd people. And that,
Oh, wow.
and that he not only did that, but he went on to his master's degree. And when he came into our program, he didn't even have a high school diploma. So I say to you,
Wow.
although this gentleman was venting, what I would say, both his missense place aspect of power, that I would not be surprised if you hear sometime in the future that all of a sudden Miss Rolle knew a little bit more than I thought she did. So again, I'm sure that you did not take it personally, but sometimes clients come out of our programs and they are in their teenage years, I call it that. And as in that development, we also, and you've did a beautiful job, I have to say, of not only not reacting to that, but turning it to the positive.
What,
Thank you.
let me ask you a question. I just came from serving 17, 18 years. I was in for robbery, had a gun, blah, 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 blah. So what are my steps and how am I referred to you and what's the first thing that I have to do?
Well, first of all, I don't take gun offenses.
Okay.
Now in my personal life, if you're a relative of someone or, I do, things personally, but my AIM program, well, I can't say I don't take gun offensive. I've had some folks that have stolen an auto, used a gun, but I try to stay away from violent crimes. That's not what that program is designed for. That program is designed for crimes that are supposed to be first time, but of course, it's not always a first time person that's committed a crime. I mean, I've had people, they're leaving this jail and they're going to another jail for another crime, but they're coming to me for maybe it was a substance crime, or maybe it was a theft, or maybe it was a obstruction. There are numerous things that we work with, but from the standpoint of someone that's been out 17 years and they had a crime, what I would recommend to them, or how would I work with them, because they don't come to the AIM program.
Okay.
But I've dealt with that before.
Okay. Well,
you know, I've dealt with individuals who've had extensive charges.
Well, okay, I had a gun, but it didn't have any bullets in it. Okay. Well, basically, basically the question. No, basically what I'm asking.
How do you come to me?
Right there, you go.
You come to me one of two ways.
Okay.
Well, it could be one of three ways. Okay, because we're intervention. You would actually be before a judge, and the district attorney would say, listen, I've spoken with your attorney, and we're going to offer you a program. We're going to offer you the AIM program. They will refer them to me, and then they will report to me for orientation. And then that's when I fully take over.
Okay.
But that's the most prevalent way they come from me. They're coming from the court system. You know, my people work in the courthouse. They are down there. They are signing them up if they choose to take that opportunity. It's voluntary. But who wants to go to jail? Nobody wants to go to jail. So if you can take it, you're going to take it. So that's how they come to me. Secondly, they may come to me from an attorney that understands they need to do something. If they're parents, they don't know what to do with them. You know, we need to send them somewhere. It's almost like boot camp, but it's not boot camp. So I may get a referral from just straight an attorney. Or I may just have a parent call me saying, you know, I know someone that's been in the program and you worked on helping them get a job. Okay, because we do have a career development aspect. So they can call us and they can pay for that resource, which is minor. They can pay for that resource. But within the career development part, we also still work with the mind, because if you don't start with the mind, you know, mom's dream for you getting a job may not be yours. You know, you may just come and sit there every day. You may never bring a piece of paper, or you may never bring a pen. You may never write down any note that we talk about. Okay. So we have to get to the start with the head first. When I wrote this book came from what we do in the AIM program and the things that work. I have hundreds and hundreds of testimonies. I have teens that have gotten off drugs, that are in school, that have graduated. I have older people who've never touched a computer before, and they're like, Ms. Rolle, I'm on Facebook, you know, because there's an aspect of technology. I mean, seriously, these people, I don't want to look at a computer. That's the devil. But I'm like, well, this is what's going to happen. We're not going to be here one day, or we're going to change a class and you're not going to know, because I have thousands and thousands of folks that I need to talk to, and we can't call everybody. So that is our resource. But we're also going to sit here, help you. We're going to give you an email, set it up for you, and we're going to show you just how to go on that email. Before they're done, they're on Facebook. You know, they met, you know, they're video chatting with their grandchildren. You know, so many things happen as a result of coming. So when you listen to me talk, you don't hear me say anything about, you know, talking to them about, you're a criminal. This is why you're here today. That's not what we're about.
Yeah, well,
we don't talk about that.
Well, earlier, you know, we were talking, and one of the conversations that we got into was that we were talking about the system itself and how the system is really about hoping for a return, because it's really not rehabilitating, it's a business. And so the more returns, you know, I got my clientele.
Because I work for the district attorney, you know, they send clients to me. They want to rehabilitate.
Okay.
Okay.
But now,
okay.
They want, you know, their goal is to make productive citizens. That's what your mayor, your governors, your counselor, you know, right now, the biggest, hottest thing is public safety. Okay.
Right.
I want to give you a little statistic about how we operate with the judicial system in the United States. Okay. United States, we're the leader. As far as I'm concerned, we're the leader. Okay. But we're also the country that incarcerates more people than any other country.
Right. Yeah.
You know, our incarceration rate, here it says The United States has about, oh, I apologize. Do I get it? Listen, in my class, if your phone rings, I turn it off. I take it. So my phone rung, I'm sorry.
But Tracy, you're at a distance, so you're safe from us.
That should have never happened.
Okay.
Okay,
Go
but
ahead.
you know, as far as the population, not land-wise, population, United States makes up about 5% of the world's population, but it accounts for 25% of the world's prisoners.
Wow.
So it's like, you know, I know you're thinking 5%, but yeah, I mean, we're United States, but there are more populations other places, but we're incarcerating more people, you know, than any other country. And as far as our philosophy on incarceration, we're getting better about it, but our philosophy is to incarcerate, whereas other countries, their philosophy is to rehabilitate. So we are just getting, you know, within the last couple of years, they've changed some laws. They've put, you know, one of our biggest crimes, of course, is marijuana. You know, you got small instances of, you know, marijuana. In some cases, if you get charged with trafficking marijuana, it's, you know, you'll get a worse sentence than someone, you know, a small amount of marijuana who's, you know, carrying a whole bunch of coke. And we know why that is.
Right.
You know, we know why that is. But, you know, our answer was, well, let's just lock them up.
Right.
Yeah.
So now we've had some laws that have been put in place. We've had some recent changes where, and you do understand that most of that lockup is between African Americans, Latinos.
Right.
You know,
Yeah,
and
definitely.
we're not the largest population in the United States. You know, we're the smaller population. We're actually the minority, that group, but we're the largest in incarceration.
Right.
You know, so now, you know, the world has said, listen, you know, we got people in jail for small doses of marijuana, you know, small doses of crack, and we need to try to rehabilitate because we're not helping them. So that's what's going on now. So the systems are trying to put these rehabilitation programs in place. And, you know, I would say that it's made a dramatic difference, but you have to have, you know, it's almost like a formula. You have to have the components in order to get the success rate, because there are so many rehabilitation programs, but look at our recidivism rate. That's not getting any better.
Well,
So
Tracy,
if you're going to these go ahead, I'm sorry.
yeah, no, go ahead. The information that you're providing is just wonderful. I wanted to say, it looks like in your program is geared towards what I call sensible or expected rehabilitation. But I wonder how many other programs are there like yours that are truly aimed towards rehabilitation? And I know that may be a bit loaded, but can you just speak to that a little bit?
As I'm smiling here, there's no other program
Okay. Okay.
that is like our program. You know, and I say that because when you look at programs, you're looking at what resources you have. Most program, they focus on one big thing. Usually they're either a drug rehabilitation program, or, you know, they may be working on, you know, you have these now, the reentry program that are focusing on jobs, right? Because they're reentry, you're entering back into the community. Now, if you're focusing, your main focus is on job preparation, resume writing, you know, those things to get you a job, and then somebody else is focusing on your substance, because you have to realize that most people are in jail because of something else outside of the crime. Okay? So you need a job, but you're also on drugs. Okay? Or you're on drugs because you have pain and you don't know how to manage it. So what makes us so different is that we try to address it all.
Okay.
You know, I'm not going to send you to a drug rehab program unless you need to go, because, you know, we're not clinical. We don't give prescriptions. We're not trying to do that. But we're going to deal with the reason you're on drugs. Why are you on drugs? We're going to deal with the things that are going on in your head. Because guess what? If I get you a job and you get your first check, what are you going to do?
If that pain is still there, you know where it's going to get spent. That check. Yeah.
So I tell my clients who are substance abusers, I tell them, I'm so not interested in you getting a job right now, and I will so wait on you to pay me.
Okay.
Because there are some things that have to happen. It has to be a order. It has to be an order. So that's why we're different. You know, and when I open my door, I'm not going to say everything that I'm doing today I was doing then. Of course, as your program grows, you learn needs, you learn more. You know, this book, In Charge, right here, was from a need. It was because I would find myself repeating the same thing, and you were calling me, asking me the same thing. Okay, Ms. Rolle, okay, I got a job. Okay, so no, I'm sorry. I got an interview. Now, what did you tell me I'm supposed to tell them about my charge?
Right.
We covered that in class. You didn't write it down? Please, Ms. Rolle, I got an interview and I really need this job. Okay? And then you got the folks that have been to, you know, one of the things I do is The Secret. I don't know if you're familiar with The Secret. You know, it's something that has been a part of my life. It's something that's very prevalent. If you know me, you know that I'm very big on The Secret. Are you familiar with The Secret? It's the law of attraction. You are what you think. Okay? You are what you think. So one of the biggest components of the program is detoxing your way of thinking. That's the conversation we got into earlier.
Okay.
And it got a little farther. He said, hold that. You know, in order for you to move anywhere in life, you have to understand. It's almost like you have to will it. You have to be in agreement. So if I'm meeting you and I say, why don't you have a job? Right? Now, all the outside influences say I don't have a job because I got a felony on my record. Or I have a felony pending. If I don't do this right, Ms. Rolle, you know, I'll never get a job. Okay? So we have to work with you on your thought process.
And
you know, Tracy, how many programs... Go ahead.
That's what you meant by that we start with the head. When you said that a little earlier.
That's the first chapter in this book is about the head.
Okay. Gotcha.
And it's not literally titled The Head. It's about self-worth.
Right. Okay.
You know, it's about what you value. You know, one of the questions in the book that I ask is, you know, how do you see yourself? What value have you placed on your existence, right? And it's not what value has the world placed, because you've been incarcerated. Right now, your mind is probably saying the world and you, I don't have a value. I just got out of jail. I just got out of prison. I'm worthless. I'm trying to become something. So we have to start there. We have to start. And, you know, on the back of the book, one of the things that I say, the physical state of incarceration, physical state is a temporary condition. Now, my brother he did that last stint, he did about 17 and a half, right, on the last stint. But no matter how long it was still a temporary condition. But incarceration of the mind is a decision of choice. Okay?
Very important.
Because you can physically use my body, but you can't take my mind unless I let you. And that's with anything. It's not just incarceration. It says everything that is happening and has happened to you was a result of the choice you made. And a lot of people don't agree with that. Just as you make the choices that result in negative consequences, you can decide to change your direction and make changes that lead to positive consequences.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we have to get you to understand. Whether it was a week, whether it was a year,
Mm-hmm.
whether it was 5, you've done your time.
Mm-hmm.
What you do when you leave there is a matter of choice.
Right.
It's a matter of choice. And I say, you know, there's always room for improvement. It's the biggest room in the house. That was a quote from Louis Heath Lieber.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, it's all about choices. Charles and I was talking earlier, and we were, you know, he said, oh, well, you're a felon. You want to repeat how you said that so I could respond? Do you remember in our earlier conversation?
Help me out a little bit.
We were talking about me dealing with people who are offending, and I said anybody can get a job. You know, it's just a matter of getting a job. And he said, no, there are some people, they've done this, they've done that, you know, they've murdered, you know, they've done this. It's impossible was the term that he used.
No, who, me?
And what did I tell you about impossible?
No. No, that's not what I said.
You said impossible.
No.
But go ahead.
No. See, she getting me mixed up because that's not what I said.
Okay.
No. I didn't even come close to saying
I
that.
told him he would have
Did it
time to think
trigger
about this.
what you said? Okay.
I said he was going to come show me out because he would have time to think about an
Oh,
answer.
Tracy. That's not what I said at all.
Okay, well, help me to understand what you said.
Oh no, I didn't even come close to saying anything like that. No,
Okay.
no.
I interpreted that.
No.
You remember now?
No.
Well, let's figure out what we said.
No, what we were talking about and what I got from you was, and you said you was going to ask me a question, and I was saying in reference to the mindset and why a person don't get a job, and the thing and the choices that they make. But see, you covered that. But I didn't even come close to saying what you said. So I'm not quite sure.
There was it's okay.
No.
It was okay.
No.
There was a word impossible used, and certain words kind of triggered me.
Well, let's
maybe I can refresh you.
Okay.
When I gave you the answer, I said, you know, the world wants people who've been incarcerated to believe that getting a job would be impossible. And I said, I don't like the word impossible. I don't like the word always. I don't like the word never, because it never really, now I used it, but it has to be used. Mm-hmm. There's no situation where it exists. You know, impossible means never to me. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I said, when someone has been incarcerated, they're already beat down, and they think that, you know, I'm not going to be able to do anything. I won't be able to get a job. We were referring to jobs.
Right.
And I apologize if I misinterpreted what you said, but I remember saying, I don't like the word impossible, don't like the word never, don't like the word always.
Right.
I said, what happens? So I'm going to give you a scenario. Mm-hmm. If you had someone that was incarcerated for murder or incarcerated for a very long period of time, the world says, because it's almost like, you know, how can I get a job? I've disappeared. It's like I dropped off the face of the earth.
Right.
They're conditioned to believe that, you know, it's close to impossible to get a job. And then I said, okay, let's give another scenario. Now, you might remember this, Charles. And I said, in my book, I talk about, when I'm talking about employment, I talk about the obstacles that you already probably came up with. I try to think of everything that a person would think about, and I give, you know, some information on how you can overcome that obstacle. I said, but let's look at the person who escapes prison, right?
Right.
We were talking about that. I said, let's look at that person, whether he failed to show up in court because he knew he was going to be doing a lot of time, or whether he was in the back of the police car and he jumped out, whether he was being transported and he escaped. There are so many people who've done that, right? Majority of them get caught, but what about the ones that don't? Guess what they do? They reinvent themselves. And they do it because there's no option. If you find out that I'm a felon, or you find out that I've done something that the world does not deem, is coming back to you?
No. Well, it's
I see that face.
No. It's coming back to me because if you remember what I said was, I said a lot of times we're put in impossible situations in the sense of, I said we go into survival mode. So what I meant,
Yes.
remember what I said? I said we go into survival mode. So
Yes.
if you're hungry, you want to eat. And you're trying
And you're going to do what it takes to do that.
Right. And so that's where, and then I didn't want you to talk about it too much because I wanted you to be fresh for this evening. But that's basically all I said. And one of the first things that I wanted to say was, when you said that, was because when I was right out of high school, I was working with a guy by the name of Johnny. And Johnny had went to jail for killing a guy at a 7-Eleven. He shot him, and to this day, I have no idea how Johnny only did a few years. And he was in his program. This was when I was 18 years old. And Johnny was out and working. And he had robbed, him and this guy robbed, and he said he accidentally shot this guy with a shotgun and killed him. And he only did about maybe 6-7 years, and he was out working. So when you said that, he was the first person that popped in my mind, in the sense to say, well, I can't get a job. Okay. And then I thought about Johnny, how he did what he did. He went to prison. Now him and I are working together. He has a job. So what I was saying was, in the sense of the system put them in a no-win situation a lot of times, because that's why they go back. Because we were talking about how the system is set up for them to repeat, because it is there to make money. That's basically what I remember saying. Right. You know.
Okay.
Right.
And I misinterpreted. I apologize.
But
I
that's okay. Hey, that happens to me a lot.
Forgive me.
Tracy, you know, you have to remember, there may be a generational gap, somewhere.
It's not that big. We discussed that earlier.
Well, we're
it's not that big. I have a son in college, almost 22. So.
Again, you must have been a very young mom.
No, I wasn't. I was way out of college.
We're gonna leave that one alone.
He was trying to give you a compliment.
I
know. I'm just trying to keep it honest. Keep it
real.
I'm proud of my age.
That's what we like to do on the program. Well, Tracy, I must say you've given us so much in this short time, and I hate to say it, but we're going to have to draw to a close. But
we ran out.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, can I do this? Can I give my website and make sure
No, absolutely.
that?
As a matter of fact, what we're going to ask you to do is that as we're closing out, I'd like to just give you, a minute or two just to talk about if there was one message that you would want to give to youth, to individuals who might fall into the category of being potential felons. What message would you want to give?
I would advise parents, teachers, neighbors. I believe in the village concept, to be conscious of the signs. Look at the signs, especially with our youth. The signs are there, but we're so concerned about giving them their privacy and their respect. We lose sight of the things that we need to be looking for. As far as a person that's just getting out of prison and re-entering, you've done your time. You going to prison, you won't be the first and you won't be the last. You've done your time. You make that decision when you leave there to be in control of your life, as they say, the captain of your fate. Getting a job is about you. It's not about the world. It's about you and how you want the world to see you. I tell my clients, act like you don't have a charge. And I preface stories in my book of clients who acted like they didn't have a charge and they got a job. Okay. So it's a mind-altering thing. So if I have to tell anyone out there who has family members who are struggling with getting a job, struggling with transitioning back into the community, don't assume they know everything. Don't assume they should know everything. You know, there's a point where their mind just goes into almost like a coma because they don't have to do a lot of thinking. So be a support system. Be a good friend. Bring the resources. Take the time. Like you said, patience, patience, patience. Be the person that they can trust to guide them. You know, and when you see that they're on that edge and they have that, I need to pay a bill or I need to do this, then you need to support them. That's what I would say.
Well,
because you know, we all are responsible for everybody, because if they're not in your family being incarcerated, they might be robbing your family. So at what end do you want to be a part of?
Right. That's a very good note to end on. And Tracy, I know I don't have to ask Charles, but
is he pouting over there?
Oh no! Oh no! Oh no!
But
look, I'm looking like I'm talking to my clients. What is that body language?
Right,
I need you to be happy.
Well, I will say on behalf of the Journey 2020, we definitely will, if you're willing, to have you come on another time, because the time has been so short. Your message is just so critical. And I think I'd also given you the promise that we'd give you time to mention your website before we ended. So would you want to do that now?
Most definitely. It's www.aime4change.com, and that's aim4change.com.
Wonderful.
You know, I would love to have her and Robin on at the same time.
Do you think that that we'd be able to get a word in edgewise?
Because the things that they do very similar. The personalities, their spirit, and like I said, I talked with Robin. I've actually talked with Robin a few times since she's been on, and the things that she's doing, because she wants to start documenting some things, and she wants me to come on and videotape. But just listening to her and just listening to Robin, it's like the same.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just interesting.
Well, you know what we'll have to do? We're going to have to make that happen.
Robin,
no.
I mean, Tracy. No. I was going to say, I'm going to have to get with Robin and get with you to find out when the both of you are available, because there are some questions that I didn't ask, and I'm still trying to figure out how did she go where she went when we had our conversation. I'm still trying to figure that out.
Well, I'm a woman.
Okay.
You know?
Hey.
You do know that we.
You don't have to say anything else.
We both speak different languages,
right?
Men are from Mars, women are from Venus.
You don't have to say anything else. Now,
totally different.
Now that you said what you said, I understand. You don't have to say anything else. Nothing. I get it. Thumbs up.
I want to thank you guys. It's been great. Anytime I get the opportunity to share my message, you know, that's my purpose. That's what I'm here for. I love doing it. And I just want to thank you again. Thank Tina for connecting me with you guys. And I really did enjoy it.
Okay.
And we did too. And with that,
thank you.
Blessings and continued success in your program. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Good night. And family, we're going to close out now. Unfortunately, the time is going so quick tonight. I can't believe it. But as we like to say, the journey is from me to you and from you to me, so that we can reach a higher level. Good night, and join us again next week.